Empezamos la segunda partida, Specialization Splice. Specialization en el azul, Splice en el rojo. 1-0 for Specialization. 87% de victoria, según las votaciones para Specialization, 13% por Splice.
Negative Nancy of nuance. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Tom. I got you and I got the viewers at home, man.
Everybody hates me right now. I can tell that. I can tell you chat's already very angry. But I don't care.
Not going to be able to really do much in this duel lane. Yet again, SPLYCE on their back foot. And it doesn't matter if it's the Hachiman, because it's all about the Sylvanas. It's Jeff Hilla that's being aggressive enough to get these swings in, and the
Changa
contra Cycle Spin is more of this kind of mid-game fighter, not necessarily this early on.
Yeah, not quite this early. Nice, Andy, going for it. How do you pronounce the god that Cyclone's playing?
Oh, it's Hu-Yi.
Okay, yeah, I forgot.
I got you.
Thank
As
you.
always. You can ask again.
Why would I ask again?
In case you forget later down the road. I got you.
Okay. Sano looking for his own speed buff, but keeping his back where he knows it's safe, because he's got to keep his front to where it's not. Andy, I love this. The threat. There it is. Going to teleport to it right there. Speed buff does go down.
Wow.
And it looks like Andy successfully... No,
Yeah, he did. He got his own speed buff. He's not going to pick it up quite yet because he's afraid that right next to the corner is going to be Sino waiting for that sash stuff.
Also twofold for what it's worth. This is a very intelligent move that I really like seeing players optimize every little bit. It takes about 20 seconds to get from base to where your speed buff is. Even less, actually, because it's about 25 to get from base to where red buff is. So it's less than 20 seconds to really get there. So you can drop the buff on the ground, back to base, buy your stuff, get to the buff in time before it despawns, 30 seconds on the ground, which means you're maximizing your time on map with that speed buff.
Even less with Susanoo having Jetstream and Stormkata, two movement abilities, which is so valuable to make that play even more just precise.
Yeah, and so the maximization of the buffs is really big. I guess there's a conversation to be had about speed buff helping you get out of the base quicker, but when you're talking about red buff, blue buff, and purple buff, if you're able to drop, if you're back into base after you're doing it, you're able to drop it back and then pick it up. That's the I'll say ideal world, as long as you're able to pick it up before it despawns.
You just got to make sure you know what boots you're currently sitting at. That could be a factor. If you have boots 1 or not even any boots, then could be riskier to try to kind of make that play happen.
One of my favorite things, you know, you talk about high-level players playing about the small, you know, sweating the small stuff, if you will. I remember talking to a jungler years ago, and this was on the old map for what it's worth, and I've done some of this on the new map myself just to know. Anister. I wonder how many seconds it takes him to get to the sky. The amount of seconds it takes for him to get to the fountain from first blood. Not all that high. Andy falls down to the hand of Sino. Nice damage coming out of the best as well. Collapsed by Aquarius. Might be good.
Look at Aquarius. He needs to set up his teammate best. Right around the corner. It's going to be a beautiful crush out of Baskin.
Beautiful. That was understanding of the characters. Both of them.
The Shell, the beautiful first pick relic. Aquarius knows what it takes to survive the early laning phase, whether it's actually in the jungle or not.
I loved how both the Chang'e and the Scylla got the hit with the very last bit of the ability. Aquarius gets it with the absolute last moment that Waxing Moon would have hit, and then Baskin even gets it with the lip of the crush.
And the thing was, the stun was only really active for less than a full second because of the purification beads, and if that beads was used preemptively and he doesn't get stunned, that crush never connects from Baskin. But still, a good job of getting Anister down during his beads being on cooldown.
And you want to keep Susanoo down. You want to prevent Susanoo from being able to run rampant and do whatever the hell he wants, because, frankly, that's what's going to happen, is he's going to do whatever the hell he wants. Susanoo so quick, so powerful, and his ability to be...
6 minutos de partida, 1-1 en muertes, torres todas arriba. No ha habido ninguna. Que hayan destruido.
All three abilities upon the landing of Anister during the Naja ultimate. It's not like a Scylla or a Ra ultimate where you just drop your ultimate on top and then that should be enough to find lethal. And a lot of damage that needs to be confirmed off of Sinoshore's Naja, as Best with the Discordia has a little bit more of a tricky path than Baskin's Scylla.
SPLYCE so far all tied up here, 6.5 early on. SPLYCE put up a good fight in game number 1, but Space Station Gaming, I think Anister on the Mercury just really was able to sort of take advantage.
And the Mercury pick definitely working out for Space Station in the first game, but second game, not even a concern. They're picking late game elsewhere. It wasn't even banned away from them to really change up their strategy. They're just relying this time on Baskin to be the carry that they need.
Divios getting chunked
Salta
here,
bien
right?
para poder escapar de Aquarius.
Divios going back to the more traditional way to handle the healing. The old cage.
Ulti Jingwei.
Jeff Handler gonna make AROR stick around just a little bit. Nice moves there for the Space Station duo lane. No surprise. Right side, ton of action.
Just trying to invade the blue buff yet again. Aquarius is used to this
Exacto,
one.
bien, ulti de Susano. Ya puede morir, ya puede morir, ya puede morir, ya puede morir. Se pueden escapar. Se escapa uno. Se escapó Nesha a 1 de vida.
Already on cooldown. Left side, a little bit of action as well. Jeff Handler, pretty low. AROR,
Jeff
pretty
está
low.
muy bajo de vida, yo
Not
creo
so
que...
much.
Bueno, ahí se puede
Blue buff
recuperar.
invaded.
Lo bueno de ser en healer
Not
también.
able to grab that one just
Aparte
yet.
de
That said,
support.
SPLYCE now looking at the left side jungle. AROR is pretty low, this is dangerous. Alright, he wards and backs off. I think that's the right choice.
The thing is, yes, he might be low, but it's a bait tactic. Even if he falls down to 0 health, he has the Sleepy Time passive. Cyclone Spin right around the corner. You don't want to fight the Hu Yi in those kinds of wall collapses. You can find the easy double or maybe even a triple bounce.
Kumbhakarna, the Sleepy Time passive. Is that its official name?
I think so.
Sleepy Time. It's very fun. I put you on the spot. I apologize.
About to look it up.
We'll get the important info to you folks back in a moment. Want to know the beautiful thing about internet broadcasting is that there are thousands of people telling us what it's called right now.
It's just sleepy, apparently.
But we don't look at the chat.
It's just sleepy.
It's just
not
sleepy?
even sleepy time.
You're sleepy?
I will be once if it keeps raining like this outside.
I like the rain. Some jazz, a fire, a good book.
Some wine.
Sure. I go with Sherry. I'm a Frasier fan.
Fair enough.
He's in the bush. You see it? Go back to you, please. Ah, he's in the bush. Look at him.
Yeah, he's hiding.
I like that. It's one of my favorites.
You gotta hide from your enemies. The way
you
you
hide from Anister, making the rotation, the junglers.
Anister has been running from Sino this whole entire game. It doesn't matter if it's speed or blue buff. It's Sino trying to set up the plays.
Right now, he's going directly for Aquarius. Kind of tanky as the target, but everyone waiting at the bottom. And Aquaman gonna drown here, the Best, dunking him underwater. AROR sends an Inditzer to the sky.
Capaz morir ese. Inmune, pero murió. Murió Susano.
Jeff Handler now in some
4
trouble.
contra
Big shot
4
coming out
contra
from
2,
Baskin.
4 contra 2, 4 contra 2, 3 contra 2, 3 contra 2. El escudo de Odín va a estallar, no le hace daño a nadie. Baskin lo dejo a 1, acá puede morir, muerte de Baskin Odín. 1 por 1.
You could tell that Divios wanted to jump into for the lethal, but if he did, he was guaranteed going to get cleaned up. And Baskin had to make an aggressive play. He preemptively beats any sort of CC that AROR was presented to him. And that's the kind of mindset Baskin goes into these team fights. He thinks on both ends of the spectrum for the lethal execution.
Always got to be thinking about distracted by the pings. Cyclone Spin, looking for Barracuda, jumping backwards as Anister shows his face as well. Red buff the target for Space Station Gaming. Sino is here, has the ring bounce, and unable to go for it.
Not much mana for Sino. He has to back on off just to redeem it with Assassin's Blessing. Yeah, he could have hit the ring bounce, but no other follow-up.
What I love about this Naja selection, which I think might be a moot point because Sinosure is Mr. Naja and probably picks this no matter what, but the metagame between these two players, between these two teams, we've seen incessant invades. just consistently. And Naja is a character that makes it really problematic to fight over buffs against because the ring bounce clears the buff and messes you up as an invader or the invadee. Fighting around a camp against Naja is really difficult. And I like this choice to combat a match where both teams are consistently in each other's jungle.
With just so many bounces once you're maxing it out. 8 specifically, so around the red buff, once those 2 small little mana cores fall and only the big one left standing, then you're looking at 8 bounces between 3 targets. So everyone's going to get hit at least 2 times.
Very, very impactful. Slows, protection shred. Don't forget the damage. Huge implications there as Sino is able to make himself known. 1-0-2 already on the assassin, crossed away, and it's their
12 minutos
Not quite
de
as
partida.
successful as his counterpart.
Trying to make something happen around the oracles as
Y vemos
Cyclone
que
Spin gets that
SPLYCE
for
va
himself,
arriba
getting
por
that
una
red
muerte,
vision glow for the
3-2.
next minute, preventing any sort of shenanigans out of Space Station like they did in the first game. And this is where they could still actually force it. They're the ones that have that I'm a monster. This time around, SPLYCE, they don't have that I'm a monster or Searing Pain to snatch it away. Their biggest burst damage, honestly, is from Divios' Bird Bomb.
Is it really? No.
For ability-wise, yes.
Isn't Strife Unruly Magic combination really big?
If you can time it, but Divios damage, like base-wise, is also really high. It best needs items to make that more damage currently than Divios at this point in the game.
And what we've seen SPLYCE do to sort of amplify that has been all in. Sino goes and brings a player up, and when he returns to the battlefield, there's an Odin, a Discordia, and a Kumbhakarna waiting for him. And that's how they're able to handle this lack of damage, quote, end quote.
Trying to defend the tier 1 mid tower. It's on his last legs, but meanwhile on the left side of the map,
Uy, qué buena es OG. Barracuda tiene que utilizar el ulti. Ulti de OG, pero no lo alcanzar.
I love the play from Cyclone.
He tried. He had to jump in, so he couldn't jump back out to chase the bird.
Alodin, stun. Stunó como a 3.
What is that, 3 second stun?
If that was the third target.
Third person.
Yeah, so it's going to be 1 second additive.
Oh my goodness. That is the longest.
Yep. And if you don't have any crowd control reduction or previously CC'd for that diminishing returns, you're going to be sleepy for a long time.
You're just sitting there.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there. No,
Divios is here around the corner.
No response from Space Station, though.
Doesn't have the blink, but it's going to be a collapse on the tier 1 tower potentially, or just to clear the wave, a look for the Gold Fury, positioning themselves around the jungle. Cyclone Spin is actually backing.
Interesting.
So not a commit.
I definitely thought this was more about the Gold Fury than not.
Oh no, Divios not at the right spot.
Lined up. Andy does take the kill. Sebastian won't be able to reset. 2 players mezzed out by AROR.
Último. Uy, cómo sobrevive.
It was only the Wisps and the Wrath of Terror, just barely. He got the heal also from the second ability that worked out well, but Space Station with a clean pick. I like that Anderson was caught in the cage. He surveys the battleground real quick. It's like, where is Aquarius? Dashes towards him, receives the Phantom, and walks away cleanly.
Jeff Hinland now hit up on the Strife. There's damage. Unruly Apple going to be tossed out towards it. Space Station Gaming does confirm their own Gold Fury.
The waxing
and a perfect ultimate from Aqua. He's still going to die
Epic
for
strike. That's all it takes. That is all it takes. Kumbhakarna does a lot of damage if you don't respect it. Cyclone Spin going to force Baskin to cancel the back of that tier 1 tower.
Tumbaron torre.
Tier 2 on the next of the chopping block. Baskin walks forward, avoids Divios entirely.
Does get hit by the Strife. Follow-up damage. He is out. Yawn is good. AROR hits him with the belly bump. Mid-lane tier 2 tower about to fall. AROR doing damage on the back end, along with Sino. Or sneaking in from the jungle, gets the root on the Hinland.
It's a 5-on-3. They got 2,000 gold between those 2 towers as Space Station stole it away. SPLYCE still respond with something for themselves.
Right now, with even bigger sights on the horizon.
Permanecer para
They're not going to go for it. The epic uppercut is just...
I thought they might.
It's so yes, Baskin was dead, but Cyclone Spin's a little low. AROR is about half health, and without too many tank items, you're still worried about 3 members from Space Station to be able to stop that from happening.
Which one specifically?
Aquarius was dead alongside Baskin, so you're looking at Jeff, Barra, and Andy to make that play happen. Typhoon ripping down Fire Giant Pit. Whether or not it's enough for a lethal damage, just a knock-up. Go for this, kill some members that do receive the Fire Giant and strip that away.
That's the key there, and I think a lot of our casual fans at home always have the glory of the steal in mind, but the punishment after the fact, especially when it's a team that's stretching the Fire Giant. By that I mean it's not a guaranteed. If you get the punishment, sometimes that's just as good as stealing the Fire Giant yourself.
SPLYCE, they got to be questioning themselves after the first game the way they went for that Fire Giant.
Exactly.
Because not only did they not secure it, it was stolen away, but they got punished immediately after. So SPLYCE needs to take the same approach that Space Station did in the first game.
The worst of both worlds.
Be very methodical about every little objective. And they were after that Gold Fury from Space Station, punishing the black and yellow and getting 2,000 gold in value of towers.
SPLYCE tiene todas las torres y
17 and a
SPStation
half on the
tiene
clock.
4.
As these teams battle it out here. Very
Y la
interesting.
gráfica se está yendo todo
To see
sobre
if SPLYCE
SPLYCE.
can hang on to this lead.
Experiencia,
Amassed a
oro,
decent one so far.
la diferencia. Ush, que...
Oh my goodness.
Ajá.
Cyclone win. Solo kill is good. I don't even care if Andy
¿Qué
beats him up here. Cyclone's been though celebrating the solo kill.
ese
And what a solo kill.
rebote?
Wow. Those ricochet bounces showing
Tercera torre
flashbacks
para
of
abajo,
his
solo le
ability to
quedan
outbox
3.
anybody in the solo lane. It doesn't matter if you're solo in the short lane or the long. Meanwhile, in the solo lane, tier 2 tower Aquarius trying to run away. Jeffilla caught in the cage, but the rest of SPLYCE are
Muere
trying to
acá
run.
Aquarius.
Divios takes care of Aquarius. The best can be cut up. And Cyclone Spin gonna die to the tower. Not quite. He spoke too soon. Andy has 10 HP. Cyclone has 10 HP.
Perdón, les quedan 2.
Tagged up, jumping forward. And it's there in the jungle, running away. And that looks like that's it.
Cyclone Spin had to basic attack all the minions to get the lifesteal, and that's what he was doing. He ate an additional tower shot, knowing that he couldn't escape it anyway. So you might as well get an additional 10 health from those Devil Gloves, just enough to survive.
So right now, SPLYCE trying to hang on to their lead and doing a great job of growing it even more so. Apologies, brief pause in the action. AROR trying to straighten up things for his team.
Pausado,
8
juego
to
pausado.
3 are the kills right now, and SPLYCE is up about 5,000 gold. They're able to push this forward. They're just sitting there, just 2,000 gold, but a nice swing over there on the right side of the map allows them to do great things. Also, side note, Cyclone Spin solo kill. That's most fun.
It's working out thus far. He's no longer that passive Jingwei. He's taken advantage of the Jingwei out of Barracuda, and really going from a defensive measure to such an aggressive stance is what makes Cyclone Spin so scary to really face off, because you never really know when he's going to pop off.
That's the thing. We have a couple of newer fans to the league, and they might not remember Cyclone Spin able to just dominate over there in the solo lane, picking weird stuff and doing things to the opposition. Ain't nothing weird about this play. Let's take a second look at Cyclone Spin toppling the legendary Barracuda. And this,
Estamos
just
viendo la
know your
repetición de
angles,
ese-
baby, and go right for it. The
ese
jump in,
rebote.
the follow-up basic.
Como
I mean,
mataba a
what's not to
Barracuda.
love?
I mean, last game, Cyclone Spin was a level 14 Jingwei with red buff. Didn't take a fight against the level 13 Hachiman of Barra that didn't have the red buff. This time, he's playing his character to his strengths.
Yeah.
He knows the angles of the ricochet bounce. He finds that beautiful double tap. The basic attacks from this 2-level advantage with red buff. He takes his guaranteed fight. Whether or not somebody comes to clean him up is beyond the fact, but because that was just lights out.
Yeah, intense stuff there coming out from Cyclone Spin in general. The rest of the team also performing very highly. SPLYCE looking clean as a whistle right now, hoping they can hang on to their lead as they sort of trudge forward. Right side siege was just complete. Still looking for a Phoenix, but anything's possible, I suppose.
It's all about this Odin pick to help them really siege effectively. Whether Aquarius is there, they're going to force his Phantom every given moment, but that cooldown of the Odin cage so much quicker than the Phantom. If
Yeah.
you don't have a second one, then a little bit of cooldown reduction goes a long way to bait out the first one and then go in for round 2.
Let's go in right now in the middle of game number 2 and see where everybody's going to wind up. SPLYCE still up that 7,000 that we were talking about. And shy of 20 minutes.
Bueno, seguimos.
Without Fire Giant.
19, 20 minutos ya prácticamente.
Beforehand. Taking their time with that one because obviously they remember what happened in the
La
first game.
partida. 8 muertes contra 3.
Lead, considering the amount of time in this game.
SPLYCE.
That's really what I'm talking about.
And
Le quedan
leading
dos
on the late
torres
game is going to be
Speciation.
on Baskin this time. Anister playing
Después
Susano
se quedan todas.
3 levels behind from Sino is not the same compared to the Mercury. Susano is more of a setup when from behind, looking for the pulls, looking for the knockout from Typhoon, which is all fine and dandy if Baskin is going to continue to hit the shots, especially once more items get completed for this level 16 Scylla.
Baskin up until this point has been hitting those shots. I think I've seen 1 or 2 missed ultimates, but the majority of them have absolutely found a home.
And it's they're avoiding the root from AROR just to keep his Mad Guy's cloak up.
Gold Fury, nice and easy to SPLYCE, soloed out by Cyclone Spin, so that'll help find themselves continuing the lead push. 8,300 gold in the lead.
SPLYCE are considering sieging that right side of the map. They're posturing around the Fire Giant as if they're going to complete it, but with Cyclone Spin just now finishing off the Gold Fury, they're going to figure out what their intentions are. But because they haven't pushed out the waves on the right side, solo lane, it's looking like a Fire Giant attempt.
That's
It's a bait.
it's where the team is. Now here's the thing, they don't know. SPLYCE doesn't know where Space Station is.
Le van a
If
dejar
they
que
did,
se hagan
they'd
el fire.
already be killing the Fire Giant. Finally, they catch them on
serio?
the map. The call is to go all into the Fire Giant. Divio scared
Fire
me for a
Giant
second.
SPLYCE.
I like
The Bird Bomb Steal of Destiny. Space Station switched their character to Divios.
no. That's the moment where it's like where you just like player instinct.
Yes.
I see the map. I'm the caster. I know what's happening, folks.
De
But
no
then
viene a
you see
impedir, pero
the
eso
bird
es
bomb out of
todo
nowhere,
down.
like, oh,
Yeah, he's got his cape on and everything. He's a superhero
Y la de
that
ellos
the Space
también.
Station could have used if that was on their team.
Very true. Very true. Right now, SPLYCE, they, I don't know if they have a cape.
Phoenix
but they're
también.
flying towards the finish line here. AROR, half HP, as he tanked the Phoenix for so long.
Beautiful
¿Será
juggle
que
of
no,
Agaror,
retrocedieron,
just long
retrocedieron?
enough to allow the minions to step in, eliminate the backdoor protection, and with a lot of a split push from Space Station, they get those 2 towers on the left side, so mitigating some of the bleeding. Still down about 10,000 gold, but honestly, they can lose another Phoenix, maybe even a third one, but as long as they hold on to this game, they're relying on Baskin.
Right now, mid lane will be the focus for SPLYCE. Not ready to march up that lane just yet, though. Divios wants to go ahead back to base, or excuse me, AROR wants to go ahead back to base. See what itemization he decides to go into. Meanwhile, Portalmancer, Pyromancer, the artist formerly known as the
Portal Demon.
I called him Portal Guy the entire time. I'm not kidding. I forgot. I called him Portal Guy from its inception till we said goodbye. He was Portal Guy.
I remember because I think I was casting with you one time and I'm like, yeah, Portal Guy, Brohan, Smith kind of deal.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny.
Fire Giant Jr., whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I couldn't recall Portal Demon, but I still regularly mistake Magi's cloak for Magi's blessing. And every once in a while, I'll call it purification.
No one likes change. Who likes change?
Those that don't like paper bills.
That's true. That's why I don't use that either. Just use plastic.
Van por la última torre
I exist in a world where currency is philosophical.
que le queda a
And I just
Speciation.
walk
A ver,
into
solo le quedan 2
Wherever I
Phoenix
walk into and
de
demand that they give
defensa
me
nomás.
Man, you must have a
Sustenance.
lot of influence.
or dead. Jeff
Oh.
Midler goes to the sky. Right now, Sino taking him out of the combat. Don't know if that's the right target.
Muere
But I
Jeff.
guess when you're ahead this far, totally
Como
doesn't seem
5
to
ultis para
matter. Over 10,000 gold for
Pero
SPLYCE.
si fueron 3
That's
alcancé a ver.
certainly a big deal.
Anister finds the damage over time through the jet stream. Sino is going to be gone. It's going to be a 4-on-4 for the moment. Aquarius healing up. Anister taking more damage than he bargained for. Left side Phoenix still standing strong, but with Barrett dead, not for much longer.
Baskin, Andy,
Y
Aquarius, the only
muere
ones
Baskin.
left to play D. Make that just Andy and Aquarius. Splyce
Muere
headed
Aquarius.
towards the Titan. Aquarius gonna eat dirt. And
Solo queda
Anster
el
gonna
jungle.
get turned
No, ya
on.
GG esta
Burned
partida.
on.
Uy,
A baker's
chao.
dozen for Splyce. And they're cooking up another victory here. We're going to a game 3.
Sí, esa ulti de Odin para que no entrara Jeff a hacer eso.
In game number 1. Yeah, it was about 31 minutes in that first game, but they just
GG,
lost in the
GG.
last 4 to 6 minutes. In this second game, though,
Esta
this
partida,
was
partida número
really
2,
all over it.
SPLYCE
A lot
fue el
has come
ganador.
to Sino's point of view, where he was able to catch
pasaría?
Aquarius in the early game because of
Esperemos
the
el
Odin
MVP,
face-to-faces,
si no,
no purification beats,
pues no conozco
crushing and
mucho los
slipping,
jugadores de
and then
SPLYCE,
the
no puedo
Odin
decir.
pick in general